What is going on, everybody? Hitmonchan here, back again with another Pokemon trading card game video. Today we're going to be going over all of the cards that are going to be in our Scarlet and Violet sets this March. The Scarlet EX and Violet EX sets from Japan have just been revealed, along with a couple promos and other cards like that we are going to be going over today. And as you can see on PokeBeach here, it says we have a total of over 156 cards that were revealed from Scarlet EX and Violet EX. So we're going to go through them now. We even have some character rares. This is a little explanation of EX Pokemon, brand new Gyarados EX, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. I'm going to be loosely going over everything, but I'm going to focus on the cards that are very important. So we're going to just go right down to here, and we're going to start going through everything. So these cards are going to be from Scarlet EX. Cacnea has counterattack needles, as well as Cacturn also has the same ability. And it's basically, if the Pokemon is damaged, put 3 damage on the damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Nothing crazy. Like, a lot of these cards aren't great. I'm just going to go through the ones that have some potential. This one, Arboleva, is actually pretty cool. It has the ability Fill Oil, which states when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you can heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. So I don't see this being very good right now in the current standard format that we're gonna have after rotation even, but a couple sets down the line, I can see this card actually being pretty decent. I can say that for sure. I can see this card actually being really, really good. Because getting to heal everything is not too bad. Now, go down a bit further, then we have Armarouge. Armarouge looks to be a really, really awesome card with that Fire Alarm ability. As long as you, like, during your turn, you can move Fire Energy attached to one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. Now, the reason that is really, really cool is because we have Magma Basin in the format, so you can use Magma Basin, then put 2 damage counters and attach a Fire Energy to one of your Pokemon, and then you can actually move the energy from that bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon, and you don't move the damage counters that Magma Basin provided. So you accelerate energy, and then you can move them around with Armarouge. Really, really cool. Also, this art is phenomenal. Like, this art is so cool. I think we can all admit that, right? That's got to count for something. So I'm very excited for this card to release. It's really cool. Could give Fire decks another little boost that they need, but I don't know if you would really consider playing something like this over Rapidash. That's my only stipulation. But other than that, really cool card and could see some play. And now we're going to go over to our first new EX revealed, and that's going to be Gyarados EX. It's a Stage 1 EX, gives up 2 prize cards, and it has 300 HP. That is absolutely insane. Unfortunately, the rest of the card isn't fantastic. The Terra type is obviously water, and the Terra effect is this Pokemon doesn't take any damage from attacks while on the bench, so nothing crazy there. I mean, people are getting a little bit upset because they're saying, oh, well, all Terra effects are just going to be bench barrier. I don't think they're all going to be bench barrier. I think they're all going to be bland for the first few sets, and then after we kind of get eased into this format, eased into EXs and how they play, and eased into what Terra effects do and how cards interact with them, we're going to get some cooler kind of Terra effects as well as different Terra types. I very heavily doubt this will be how Terra terrestrialization works in the TCG. It's just you get bench barrier. I think that would be kind of very boring, and it wouldn't be using the full potential of terrestrialization. However, it's a little bit disappointing to see this on the Gyarados as well. As for the attacks, Waterfall, 3 water energy, do 100, and Tyrannical Tail is pretty interesting given some of the other cards that were released in the set. For 3 water, 2 colorless, you do 180, and if your opponent's active Pokemon already has damage counters on it, you do 180 more. So that's not too shabby if you want to take a massive knockout. And the hardest part about it is going to be powering things up. Well, you can power this Gyarados up with Palkia V-Star and Double Turbo Energy, or if we get some more water support down the line in some other sets, because we're losing Melanie, or no, sorry, Melanie stays, but you can't use Melanie on EX Pokemon. We're losing Capacious Bucket, we're losing Frostmoth, so could have been good if we had a little bit more water support. For now, it's just kind of lackluster, but I can definitely see this card having some play, again, down the line when we get more used to the EX format. Nothing else here is good. We got our first look at Wiglet and Wugtrio cards as well. These cards aren't really anything good. Like Sea Tunneling for 3 colors, flip 3 coins for each heads this card. The top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Could be funny, but we don't have Gloomwood Tangle anymore. That's rotating as well. So it's a high roller mill deck. Okay, cool. Nothing insane. But this Dondozo, I'm very excited for this Dondozo. This Dondozo has the Vent Wrath attack. It does 50 times the amount of Tatsugiri in your discard pile for only 2 energy. So if you slap a double turbo on it, you're going to be doing 180 damage if you have all the Tatsugiri in your discard pile. And now the reason this is good is because a couple of things. Tatsugiri is right here, and it's a basic Pokemon. Now, you can fetch it with Hisuian Heavy Ball, which means you don't need to play Peonia. Like, remember that Magikarp and Gyarados deck from Pokemon Go? You needed to play Peonia because Gyarados counted for the attack cost or whatever, or like the attack damage boost, and you need to get that out of the prizes. Can't use Heavy Ball for that. Tatsugiri can be used with Heavy Ball, so you can just Heavy Ball and get a Tatsugiri out of the prizes if it's there, Ultra Ball them away, boom, Dondozo, very, very easily. And Tatsugiri is not a bad starter as well. It has the Preparations attack for a single water, which states you can search your deck for up to 2 basic water energy, attach them to one of your basic Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Tatsugiri could actually be a decent Pokemon in its own right, a decent starter. Like, maybe you could use Tatsugiri to start powering up Gyarados, right? You attach a Tatsugiri, then you do, you know, its first attack, then you evolve your Magikarp into Gyarados the next turn, attach a double turbo, and then somehow get another water energy onto it, right? Could be pretty, it could be strong enough. It could be interesting. So I'm very happy with Dondozo and Tatsugiri. I think this card, 160 HP on a basic, could be pretty powerful. Next, we got Wattrel and Kilowattrel. I love this Pokemon, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be very good. It doesn't really do anything crazy. Gardevoir EX, we've talked about in a previous video, which I will link up here. Basically, Gardevoir EX, Psychic Embrace. You can attach as many Psychic Energy cards from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, but for each Psychic Energy, you have to put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Gardevoir is going to be very, very strong. It just depends, you know, what other Psychic Pokemon do we have. But we have a lot of Psychic support in Standard right now. We have things like Fall Crystal. We got, what's it called? We got Shadow Rider Calyrex. There's a lot of Psychic Pokemon that can be used in this with Gardevoir. So Gardevoir will be pretty decent. We also have Dashba in here with the Well-Baked Body ability. It's nothing crazy, just says prevent all damage into this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's fire Pokemon, and it can't be burned either. So it's a little bit of a dual ability there, but it's just basically a walling out fire Pokemon card. But I mean, this is cool if fire Pokemon ever become good. We don't really have any good fire Pokemon right now, so I'm not exactly super hopeful for it, but nonetheless, could be an interesting Pokemon. I'm also looking at these cards for GLC, by the way, so if you're interested in GLC, I will highlight the cards that are decent as well. Yeah, this Espathra, new Espathra card, the first Espathra card, not very good though. It has Psychic. Psychic's standard, a kind of attack, more damage for each energy and your opponent's active. Could be decent though if big energy attacks become the norm, but we'll have to see. This Medicham is actually pretty cool. It's not going to be good, but it could be decent in like control because it's got bullseye aim, which states choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon attacks during their next turn. That Pokemon can't use that attack. So for 1 fighting energy, could be pretty cool in a Zoroark control style deck where you go into this Medicham and then you boom hit them and then they can't attack next turn. So could be interesting. Definitely. This Lucario too is going to be interesting because we have Lucario EX coming out, and you can kind of play that in that deck as well. It's got Vengeful Knuckles for a single fighting energy. If any of your fighting Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon during last turn, this attack does 120 more damage. That's pretty good. 150 on a single prizer. If you want to just take a knockout on another single prizer, or you can set up a 2 prizer, pretty good. I would say that that's actually not bad. However, we do have the Roaring Resolve Lucario in format still from Brilliant Stars, so we'll have to see if this is really worth playing over that one. Overall, though, pretty decent card, I would say. Now we have the Sandile, Crocodile. This is more for GLC. This what's it called? Krokorok could be decent with Payback. It does 30, and if your opponent has 1 prize card remaining, it does 90 more damage. For single fighting energy, if they got 1 prize card remaining, you can do 120. In GLC, that's pretty good. I won't lie, it's pretty good. Very situational. But the Crocodile is the especially special card, I will say. It's got Voracious Bite, 50, and then you flip a coin until you get tails. For each head, this card's an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Could be very good in something like, I wouldn't say very good, could be decent in something like, against like fire decks, or grass decks, or even water decks in GLC. If you get a lot of heads, you can get a lot of energy off the board, only from the active though, but thankfully most Pokemon need a couple, like a good chunk of energy in order to use their attacks in those kinds of decks. And Earthquake, this will fit well into the Earthquake GLC deck for 2 fighting energy. It does 180, and then you do 30 to each of your bench Pokemon. So this Crocodile can blow anything up, basically, and just do a lot of damage. Very, very cool. Might be a very good GLC card. It has 3 retreat costs as well, so the chunkier ones are usually good. This Hawlucha is going to be a staple, pretty much. Make sure you get a couple of these when you're opening up your Scarlet and Violet sets, because it has the Flying Entry ability that states when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you can choose 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on each of them. This is kind of like our new Zigzagoon. It's not as good as Zigzagoon, because the only way to remove it is with like Penny, the supporter, which just picks up a basic Pokemon. There's no Scoop Up Net right now. And I doubt there ever will be, because that card is way too good. But Hawlucha is pretty decent. It's pretty cool. I think you'll want to get 1 to 2 of these to play in certain decks. Not every deck will need them, but certain decks will, just like Zigzagoon did. And now, this Anaconda is interesting, but it's nothing crazy. Its attack, second attack, Violent Dust Cloud, says discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Then your opponent shuffles their active Pokemon and all cards attached into their deck. So, interesting, not going to be very good. This Cloth, I want to highlight it just for GLC, because Adrenaline Hammer does 130 for 3 fighting, and the Pokemon's now confused. But in GLC, that's kind of the perfect number, is 130. So, you could do some pretty nasty damage with Cloth in Gym Leader Challenge, and I love Cloth's Pokemon, so I think that's pretty neat. Great Tusk, EX we've been over, same thing with Koraidon. Great Tusk is just a bulky fighting Pokemon. Koraidon, the only thing you need to know is its ability is Dino Cry, and it lets you attach 2 fighting Pokemon, 2 basic fighting energy from your discard pile to your basic fighting Pokemon in any way you like, but your turn ends. That's what you need to know about Koraidon and Great Tusk. We also have a new Muck card, and this new Muck is kind of interesting. With the Poison Sacs ability, it says the special condition Poisoned is not removed when your opponent's Pokemon evolve or devolve, so you can keep Poison on your opponent's Pokemon even if they evolve into something new. Could be interesting in an upcoming card that we're going to talk about very soon. Toxicroak EX in a Toxicroak EX deck could be very, very interesting. And now we have some other nothing crazy cards, but we do have Toxicroak EX. I absolutely love how this card looks, and I think this card could be pretty good. It has that nasty plot attack for the first one. Search your deck for 2 cards from into your hand. Not bad. You don't want to be using this though, because you're on a stage 1, don't forget. So when you get to your next stage, you ideally want to be using your powerful attacks, which wouldn't be hard with Toxic Ripper. For a darkness and 2 colorless, you do 120 damage, and then your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, and you put 6 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1 between turns. This is good because you have Radiant Hisui and Sneasler, so you can put 8 damage counters instead, which means that Toxic Ripper is going to do 120. 80 damage from poison, which means 200 the next turn. If your opponent doesn't switch or retreat whatever or evolve, then they get knocked out. 280 is usually the magic number, right? If you have Muck in play, they can't even evolve. They just gotta suck it up and they gotta try and move from the active. So Toxicroak could be pretty cool. I can see this card being very, very interesting for sure. And now we have a Pawniard, we have a Bisharp, and we have a brand new King Gambit card. I love King Gambit, and this card looks super, super cool and has a pretty cool ability. As long as this Pokemon is in play. The attacks of your basic Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Could be really, really cool if we get a nice basic Dark EX, like a Darkrai EX down the line, which I'm sure we'll get. It could be cool if we get, powerful basic Dark Pokemon, or even if we get powerful basic Pokemon that kind of need a partner to do more damage. King Gambit can be that partner. We just gotta wait for the format to slow down a little bit more until Stage 2s become viable again, after VMAXs and V-Stars kind of fade out a little bit and everybody moves towards the brand new EXs. We have new Varooms, and we have a Reveroom. This Reveroom is also very good in both Standard and Gym Leader Challenge. With that Rumbling Engine ability, it says you must discard an energy from your hand in order to use this ability, and during your turn, you may draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. I would say that's pretty good. It's kind of Bibarel plus Radiant Greninja. Very, very good. Metal GLC definitely needs a draw supporter, or a draw support Pokemon, so Reveroom fills that role, and it's a stage 1, so very easy to get into play in Standard as well. Is it better than Bibarel? We're going to have to see that for sure. We also don't have anything crazy over here. Staraptor's a little bit interesting with a spin away attack for 60 damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. Could be decent. Also, the Staraptor art is gorgeous, by the way. It could be pretty okay. I don't know. It depends how powerful, again, basic EXs are. So we'll have to wait and see. We do have another EX coming up here, Oinkalone EX, that evolves from Lechonk. It's got that Fragrance Fury attack for 10+. It does 30 more damage for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So for 1 energy, you could be doing upwards of 160 damage, which isn't too bad if we're moving towards a 2-shot format, which we can't. It looks like we will be, like, you know, for the most part, we'll be moving towards that. In like maybe not this upcoming rotation, the rotation after probably. And it's heavy stamp attack for 3 colors, so 210. Flip a coin. If heads, this Pokemon can attack next turn. So I mean, not going to be great. You could combine it with Sharon's Care and some other cards to make it kind of like a tanky deck that you want to use over and over. Like you want to do Fragrance Fury a couple times, like over and over, to kind of 2-shot your opponents and they don't take any prizes on you. Pair it with Miltank to wall out V Pokemon. You never know what this deck will hold. It's okay. I like it. I don't think it's terrible. Now, these are some item cards. We've kind of gone over everything here. Defiant Band I haven't talked about yet. It's the new choice card, almost. Kind of. It says if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to you do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So, pretty cool little comeback card there. It's not quite the same as a choice card, like a choice belt or a choice band or whatever, but still interesting nonetheless. A lot of these other cards have been revealed, but Team Star Grunt is new. It basically states put an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon on top of their deck. Now, I think this is really good for a couple of reasons, because you might be thinking, well, they can always reattach the energy. Well, if your opponent is in a bad spot and they're in top deck mode, playing Team Star Grunt ensures they draw into an energy, which is absolutely hilarious, because if they're kind of in top deck mode, you can just keep Team Star Grunting them by recycling it with Palpad and Lumineon and continuously keep them in a bad spot as you attack, you know, and you kind of clean up the rest of the game. So it's going to be very good in control decks for sure. We'll just have to see how it is in other decks. Everything else we've gone over. Now onto the Violet EX cards. Here we have, you know, Heracross. This is nothing crazy. Scatterbug and Spupa have adaptive evolution, so they can be evolved the first turn they come into play. It's a shame, though, because this Vivillon isn't good. But if we have decent other Vivillon cards from the past, could be good in Expanded or GLC. And now we have Tarantula and Spidops. Spidops is hands down the card I'm the most excited for coming out in Scarlet and Violet right now. It has the Trap Territory ability, which states your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is colorless more. Now, this is a great ability because this effect actually stacks. This effect stacks. I'm going to say it again. It's so good I got to say it twice. You can have 4 Spidops in play and make your opponent's Pokemon retreat cost 4 colorless more, not including the already present retreat cost that is most of the time going to be 2. Now, the reason I'm excited for this is a couple of reasons. One, Wire Hang, its attack for a grass and a colorless, does 90 plus 30 more for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So if you have 4 Spidops in play, just thinking high numbers, and they have a retreat cost, your opponent has a retreat cost of 2, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. A lot of damage, we're just going to say that. You're going to be doing a lot of damage. 4 Spidops in play will let you do 210 plus 2 retreat cost, will let you do 270. So you're going to be in a pretty decent spot. Another reason is because we have Leafeon VMAX to kind of boost that number up a little bit. It's got the same attack, essentially just different numbers at 60 times. So if you get a couple Spidops in play, you play your Leafeon VMAX, boom, you're good to go. Another thing is you can use Hisuian Lilligant, its V-Star power, to set up, as well as ensure you can use Gardenia's Vigor very, very effectively, where you can attach 2 energies from your hand, 2 grass energies, to your benched grass Pokemon. So this deck could be very, very cool, very functional, and it might not be the best, but it could be a good tier 1 deck maybe. I can see in the future. I'm very excited for this Spidops to come out. We have Toadschool and Toad's Cruel, or Toadschool and Toad's Cruel is here. Nothing great. It's kind of funny, but yeah, nothing insane. Same thing, Capsicid Go Villain, nothing crazy. 90 more if you have a fire energy on it. Oop-de-doo. I already talked about Arcanine EX. Its Terra type is still fire, and it has the same Terra effect as Gyarados and its attacks are nothing to write home about. They're just okay. We have a new Houndoom, whose art is absolutely astonishing. Like, this art is incredible. This is 150 for 3, and you discard a Fire Energy. We have a new Slowbro. This Slowbro I'm very excited for, because it has Strange Behavior as its ability. And what is this Strange Behavior, you might be asking? Well, as often as you like during your turn, you can move a damage counter from one of your opponents, from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So you can, my idea is you put, like, I don't know, in a Water Salt deck, you put 2 Slowbro in play. Move a bunch of damage to each of them. You do 90 on one, 90 on the other, and then you play Cheryl, and you get rid of all that damage. Or you play some sort of potion, like a Hyper Potion, or a Max Potion if they ever reprint Max Potion, or something like that. Or you could even do a really cool play where you move damage off of your Pokemon. You knock out Slowbro, because it doesn't say you can't. Then you get the activated 30 plus damage of the Comeback Belt, or whatever, Comeback Band, whatever it's called. So that could be an optimal strategy as well. You never know. This is a very interesting card that I think people are going to get very creative with. And you can also put the Twilight Inspiration Slowbro into your whatever deck you're playing too, so that knockout kind of makes it easier for you to win the game. So we'll have to see how this works. I'm very excited for it though. These next few cards aren't crazy. We have Titan, which could have been decent. 180 on a stage 1, you know, it's not bad, but its attack is very lackluster and Sweeping Tackle. You do 200 minus 20 for each damage counter on this Pokemon, which is really bad. We've talked about Magnezone before. Low energy cost, high damage attacker. It's got the potential for that anyway. This Pachirisu could be very, very good in Miraidon EX decks, because with Group Zap, and if you combine that with the power of Regieleki VMAX, you can be doing upwards of like 170 damage for 2 energy, which is very, very cool. Everything else here is nothing super notable except for this Pawmot here. Now this Pawmot, I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about Pawmot a lot, and I'm interested to see if it can become its own deck down the line. Pawmot is a stage 2 Pokemon that only has 130 HP. That's nothing. That is not a lot of HP. But yeah, that's nothing. And it has the ability to charge up, which states during your turn you can search for basic lightning energy and attach it to this Pokemon. And guess how much its attack does? For 2 lightning and a colorless, you're doing 230 damage, but the catch is you discard all energy from this Pokemon. So you can't even use this Pawmot 2 turns in a row unless you do some crazy switching shenanigans with like Electricity Generator or whatever. Or is that only to basic Pokemon? I don't know. We're gonna find that out later, because I don't quite remember. But Pawmot here could be a decent card in GLC maybe. Could be good in the future, but right now it's up for debate. Miraidon EX, very, very powerful card with Tandem Unit, which is just Battle VIP Pass on an ability for Lightning Pokemon. It's going to be very strong. It goes without saying. Hypno is going to be hilarious because it's Pendulum Manipulation. You flip a coin, and if you get heads, you choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as that attack. So that can be really, really funny in something like Gym Leader Challenge, or even as a funny standard deck when your opponent's playing a bunch of cards, a bunch of decks that do like high damage. You just copy it off of a coin flip. I mean, it could be funny. We have Banette EX, which is another pretty interesting card, one of the other better EXs we've seen revealed, which is Poltergeist. And basically it has 2 attacks. First attack for a single Psychic, does 30 damage, and your opponent can't play item cards from their hand during their next turn. Now, if you're going first, this is a really good attack. If you're going second, it might not be great, because you still have to evolve your Shuppet into Banette in order to use this ability, or this attack, right? So it's Quaking Punch on a stage 1. It's a bit balanced, but Vigavolt rotating, this is going to be the go-to item lock card. Then Poltergeist for a Psychic and Colorless states look at your opponent's hand and use 60 for each trainer card in there. So pretty decent. It could be okay. We're going to have to take a look and see how good it will be if we get more kind of support for this card or not. We'll find out in the future. Florges is actually not too shabby. It's got the Bloom Garden ability. It says as long as Pokemon is in play, your Pokemon have no weakness. So if weakness is a problem for certain decks, you could see a Florges come into play. Again, if stage 2 Pokemon are to be viable again. However, this Klefki is probably the best card that has been revealed in the Scarlet and Violet sets. It has the Prank Lock ability. As long as Pokemon is your active Pokemon, each player's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. And this is not basic non-rule box like Empoleon. This is all basics. No Miraidon, no Lumineon, no Koraidon, no basic Pokemon abilities allowed. No Comfeys, no Cramorant, no Snorlax, nothing is allowed. This is really, really strong. This is a very, very strong card. You play one Klefki, it can help if your deck is a little bit slower, it can help you get set up, because your opponent also won't be able to do much either. So, could be very, very strong. We'll have to wait and see how that goes in the future. We've got Griefard, which was revealed before, and Houndstone, which is 80 damage plus 10 more for each Psychic Pokemon in your discard pile. Nothing crazy. But we have Mankey and Annihilate, or Mankey Prime and Annihilate here, which I'm very excited for a couple of reasons. First is because, you know, Mankey's whatever. But Primeape does 70 damage for a single fighting energy, which isn't too shabby in both, like in GLC and in Standard. That's okay too. You can knock out some small basic Pokemon with this Primeape. And Annihilate does, for a single fighting energy, 70 damage times the amount of prize cards your opponent has taken. So if your opponent takes a single prize card, you do 70. If they take 2, you do 140. If they take 3, you do 210. Not too bad for a single fighting energy. And Dynamic Punch for 2 fighting energy does 170 damage, but you do 50 damage to yourself. So there's a couple ways you could play this card. You can play it as a high roll deck. By high roll, I mean like super aggro. You just try and take the first knockouts, because you take out small knockouts with Primeape, and then you move into an Annihilate after. Because every attack is only a couple energy, you play just Raihan and Fighting Energy. And you Fighting Energy, if you need to use your second attack, you Raihan, and boom, you're good to go. So we'll have to wait and see how good fighting Pokemon become. I'm very excited for that card. Nothing else is crazy here. We have Mabostiff, which is kind of interesting. It's once during your turn, you can switch your opponent's active Pokemon from their bench Pokemon, but your opponent chooses which Pokemon to bring to the active. So it's not as good, but we'll have to see how good it is in the future. We've been over Iron Treads before on the channel. It's not good. This Blissey is also not great. It just prevents, and you can heal all special conditions from your active Pokemon. Nothing crazy. And its attack, Blissful Cyclone, 150 for 3. Move all energy attached to this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. It's alright. It's not crazy. This Squovit, though, is kind of hype. This Squovit could be a very, very strong Pokemon. And let me explain it to you why. This Squovit has the Hidey Hole ability, which states once in your turn you can shuffle your hand and return the cards to the bottom of your deck without looking at them. So you Marnie yourself, but you draw one card. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, why would you want to do that and draw one card? Well, think about what's still in the format. Single Strike and Rapid Strike Mustard, meaning this can make Mustard decks possible with even single prize Pokemon, where you play you put an Emboar into play to make your single strike Pokemon do more damage, or you put a Houndoom into play very easily, or you put an attacker into play and then you already have Houndoom, so you just pile the energy on them. Could be really, really strong. I'm very, very excited to see what this card does for the format. And this Greedent is not good. It does 80 plus 80 if you have a tool attached, not good numbers. I'm also really interested, though, in this Indini. It has that Raise Well attack for a single colorless energy. It says search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play, and play it on that Pokemon to evolve it. So you can potentially evolve one of your small Pokemon on the bench, and kind of ensure they don't get knocked out next turn, unless they get like Melowododonked or something. But you can save one of your small Pokemon from like a Cramorant or something like that. So this could be really, really cool. And plus you get to skip an evolution stage, right? So very interesting. If this was like an ability that ended your turn, I could see it being a lot stronger, because you just played on the bench. You don't have to attach anything to it. You just evolve your Pokemon at the end of your turn, and then you can use it to help with consistency, and then at the end of, like, later in the game, you just don't use it, right? But you have to put it in the active with one energy on it, so not great. Tandemaus and Mousehold, though, I'm very interested to see a deck based around this. I will definitely make one. It has that family attack for 2 colorless, which states this attack does 70 damage for each of your Mousehold in play. So you got 4 Mousehold in play, you're doing 280. For if you have a double turbo on it, you're doing 260. Pretty good damage output for the little Mousehold that has 70 HP. Nothing else here is really crazy. Electricity Generator is to any of your lightning Pokemon. So you look at the top 5, choose 2 basic lightning, attach them to any of your bench lightning Pokemon, and then shuffle the remaining cards in your deck. Electricity Generator, very cool, very nice. Gonna make Miraidon EX busted. Picnic Basket is hilarious too. It just makes Hisuian Zoroark V-Star bad because it says heal 3 damage from all Pokemon in play. So you can see why that's hilarious. We have some more supporters to go through here. The supporter of Katie. It says using this card ends your turn, but you shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 8. Could be good as a one-off in some decks that need or even install decks that just need a lot of cards in their hand to work with. So it could be interesting. Miriam is our new recovery card. It's on a supporter. I'm not a fan of it, but it's okay. It's choose up to 5 Pokemon from your discard pile, reveal them and shuffle them into your deck, and then you draw 3. It's not great. I would have rather had an Ordinary Rod or rather play Clara because you get them into your hand. But I can see it having some niche use. And Mesagoza is an interesting stadium card. Nonetheless, it says once during each player's turn, they can flip a coin. If heads, they search the deck for a Pokemon and reveal it and put it into their hand. So, could be interesting, but it's on a coin flip, right? So, might not be great. And now we have some more Pokemon that are in the starter decks that are going to be in our Scarlet and Violet main set. I'm only going to go over the interesting ones here. Meowscarada is a stage 2 Pokemon. It's okay. You have Trick Cloak for 40. Put an energy, attach your opponent's active Pokemon in their hand, and then Flower Bomb 2 for 130. It's not great. In a vacuum against like single price stage 2 Pokemon, it's okay. Other than that, it's not really good. We've talked about Lucario EX before. I like Lucario EX. You can snipe the bench for a good chunk of damage, 50 to anything, and you get a good chunk of damage on the active. So we'll see if Lucario is good. And just some more item cards here. We have a new artwork for Judge. I actually kind of like this artwork. It's pretty cool. Nothing else is really notable. We have Skeledirge here with Fiery Vocals. For 1 fire energy, you do 50 and you attach up to 2 basic energies from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. That's all well and good, but you're on a stage 2, so you're not really going to get to use that attack very often to power up other Pokemon. And then Blaze Shout does 190 and you do 30 to yourself. Nothing fantastic. I've talked about Ampharos EX already before. Very, very cool. You can be doing 240 by discarding 2 energy. You can discard a double turbo if you play double turbo, and you can do 220. So pretty good. 330 HP EX Pokemon. There's just one other card I want to talk about, which is basically Quackavow with the Energy Carnival ability. I actually kind of like this card. Going forward, I think it'll be pretty interesting. It lets you attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So if you get a Quackavow in play, you can attach 2 energy per turn, which, in all honesty, could be worth having a stage 2 in play. Like, it could be worth getting this Pokemon up and running because you just get an extra energy attachment per turn. Then if your opponent targets this down, your attacker's already powered up, so then you just attack and you knock out their Pokemon too. You ideally take more prizes. So it's pretty good. Then we have a Dedenne with Second Bite, which is okay. Does 30 plus 10 more for each damage on your counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. You don't really need that. Mimikyu we've been over too. Everything else I think we've kind of covered already here, and that is basically it for this. We do have some other cards that we can talk about though. Let's go back to the PokeBeach main site. We have some Scarlet and Violet EX art rares that have been revealed, like this Armarouge. We have this Tarantula, and we have this Spidops, and the art actually connects for these two. So I really, really like these art rares. And then these have been revealed previously, the Ralts, the Curlia, and the Gardevoir that level up or evolve throughout the years, as well as this Greavard, this Pachirisu artwork, which is adorable, and this really cool Slowpoke and mischievous Riolu here. So that is some more art rares that have been revealed. We do have some other cards though. We got a reprint of Pokeball, which my friends will know I'm very happy about because I've used to put this card in every deck. And we do have an Oinkologne. And these are all promos, by the way. These are all Japanese promos, so we're gonna get these in different areas. We have this Koraidon. That's basic, which isn't great, unfortunately. 190 for 4, and you discard 3 energy. This Miraidon is decent. You do Lightning Laser for 2 Lightning and a Colorless. You do 90 and Snipe 30, but it's not very good. Again, this Dondozo was not good. This Arcanine, not good. And this Spidops, not good either. Just not good. Amazing artwork, though. This is an Arcanine, sorry, not a Growlithe. All these artworks are absolutely incredible. Like, they're so cool. Unfortunately, the cards aren't good, but I digress. What is cool is in English, we have been, what's it called? Some more English cards have been revealed, and Art Rare Koraidon and Art Rare Miraidon, that you're gonna get 2 of these if you purchase a Elite Trainer box. Now, if you get it from the Pokemon Center, one of them is gonna have a Pokemon Center stamp, and you can, you have a unique promo from the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. So that's kind of an incentive to get these Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes now. Like, and also I love these new poison burn markers, by the way. Like, I'm probably gonna get this. Like, this is super cool. And you do get 11 packs now from these Elite Trainer boxes. So really, really neat. Really, really neat cards. And you have an EX die. Like, it's pretty cool. It's really, really cool. Some more English product images have been revealed. The booster packs look beautiful. And yeah, we just have some close-ups. Nothing else crazy here. And you can get a Lechonk promo from Scarlet and Violet pre-orders in Pokemon Center. So that's cool. And the last thing we have to talk about is the pre-release promos right here that are going to be Reveroom, Hawlucha, Palma, and Quackavow, which I'm very excited for because I think all these cards are interesting at the very least. We got 2 stage 2s, a basic and a stage 1, so there's some variety, and they're all kind of different strategies you can go for. So I'm very excited for these cards. I think this is going to be a really fun set to play and to collect. And now, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this Scarlet and Violet TCG breakdown. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment below, what are your thoughts of Scarlet and Violet so far? The games and the cards. What do you like and what do you dislike about them? I'd love to know. And yeah, like the video if you enjoyed. That is your second like reminder. And subscribe to the channel. I post 2 new Pokemon trading card game videos every single week here on the Hitmonchan channel. So yeah, with all that said and done, Hitmonchan.